This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
Well, Reddy, next question. When did you know you wanted to become a pro wrestler? At what point in your life?
Well, when I had exhausted all the options that I was considering at the time and realized, oh shit, I need to grow up and do something with my life. Because I came out of high school. I had no desire to go to college. Wasn't I was on the honor roll. I was able to get my homework real done, turn it in, and pass, with flying colors at school. But I hated being at school. Didn't want to go to college. No scholarships were in play. I played. I wrestled. I'd played basketball earlier. I was interested in sports, but wasn't good enough to have anyone look at me for a scholarship. And it was like, what do I do? So as a junior in high school, I signed up for the delayed entry program into the Marine Corps. And I went to the Marines, and I've told that story a handful of times. Didn't work out too well. And after my bad conduct discharge, I was able to come home, and I was working at a gas station for like 2 months in kind of the fall of 2019, or I'm sorry, 1999. And wow. And I came home one day and I was like, Dad, like I'm working midnights at this gas station. I'm gonna be 20 next year. I want to try and be a professional wrestler. I want to give it a shot. And at this point, I was a fan. I had been watching Goldberg. I had been watching DX. I had been watching you come up, and it was, can I maybe do this? Because I've got this in. And I didn't realize back then how much hard work some of these guys that I know now and are considered close friends, how hard these guys have worked to get where they are. I just had to ask my dad to pick up the phone. And, originally he didn't think that they were going to, take to the idea, but, it turned out Lanza, Tony Gurria, Pat Patterson, the Pritchard brothers, they were up there and they all loved my dad, respected my dad. They flew me up and they were giving me, it was like a $250 a week contract to start to train to become a professional wrestler. So I'd exhausted all the options that I had allowed myself to have at that point in my life. And at 19, I had to fucking figure it out and figure it out quick. And it was like, let's shoot for the top and see if I could do this. I'll know pretty quickly whether I can or can't.
You were breaking into the business in a time when OVW was the developmental Terry. Tons of other greats came through there around the same time, like John Cena and Batista. What was the hardest part of training in OVW? And did you ever think, man, maybe this isn't for me?
Well, I'd say the hardest part was, and I didn't know it at the time, but the conditions down there. Like I look at NXT now and it's like, oh my God, talk about like just a top level training facility.
Oh shit. I know.
Yeah. They've got everything. They've got a team of doctors. Just the other day, I got fitted for orthotics by the NXT doctors, and come to find out, all the NXT guys have been fitted for it's like this new technology, Kurt, and they gave it to every single wrestler down there on the roster. And I only caught wind of it because I was in the trainer's room while someone was talking about it. And I was like, orthotics, I'll take some orthotics, So it's like they have everything they could possibly want at their disposal. And when I started in OVW, we had a ring that had broken boards under the canvas, and you had to watch where you bumped, watch where you stepped so you didn't trip, and you couldn't hit the ropes as hard as you wanted to, as hard as you should, because the ropes were dangerous and they might break. So that's the conditions that I
it's a lot different today, man.
Yeah. But like looking back, I wouldn't have it any other way. Now they've got, I don't know how many, 80, 100, 120, 150 NXT guys down there training. And granted, they have, 1,000 rings down there to train in. We had the one, but there was only like 10, 12 WWE developmental talent while I was down there. And they weren't just signing anybody back then. They were signing people with, you know, quite the extensive resume, or just naturally genetically gifted bad dudes. So I didn't stack up too well to them, and especially in my head. And I was always the insecure kid. Excuse me. I was always the insecure kid, and I didn't think too highly of myself when it came to, you know, what I was able to do physically. But you know, you've heard the phrase, you know, like when a kid goes through that weird growth spurt and their feet get real big and then they grow into their feet kind of thing. Like, I feel like I grew into my size 15s around that time while I was in OVW for that first year. I went from kind of not knowing how to move or having the kind of body awareness that one should have in a wrestling ring. I went from that, like within a year, to like having this confidence about myself and this confidence of knowing that I could get from point A to point B in a different way every time without even thinking about it. And that, you know, I had something special. So it was a real weird experience down there, because at very first I didn't belong, but very shortly after that, I was leading the pack. And eventually the first guy, one of like it was me, Lesnar, Ron Waterman, and Rico Constantino. Us four, we got called up to do dark matches before anybody else. And so I went from one of the, you know, worst down there to leading the pack with the guys being called up. So it was a really cool experience for me. You know, I'll never forget some of those memories down there, just being young. Those were my college years, Kurt. You know, I was growing up around all these other genetic freaks and figuring myself out. I'm trying to understand life and doing it all in the wrestling business. So it was a very weird way to become a man, so to speak.
I get that, man. Well, listen, you're always in great shape. What's your diet consist of, and do you have a training routine? Because you've always been in great shape, Randy. You always look good.
I appreciate that, Kurt. I feel like I am the worst. Like I'll get a couple days, a couple weeks in, and feel like I'm eating right, like I'm training right, and then it kind of all falls to shit. And I don't know what the deal is with like why I yo-yo diet so much, but I like to binge eat at night when I get those kids to bed. You know, maybe I'll sit back and, you know, I guess you could say, channel my inner Matt Riddle, and I'll get the munchies, and it's funny you should bring it up, because your chicken snacks, dude.
I heard you're hoarding them.
The
Not let your wife have any.
The cinnamon, brown sugar. Well, I have to hide those, because that's like the best tasting, like healthy snack I've ever had in my entire life, bro.
Right.
So I appreciate it. I might have to hit you up for another order. But
whenever you're ready.
Dude, it's for me, it comes down to diet, because like I'm not gonna all of a sudden be able to maintain muscle mass like Bobby Lashley. Like at 41, like I'm looking to maintain. I've had a lot of surgeries, and I know you know the deal. Like I'm bench pressing 500 pounds or deadlifting a house isn't something that's going to benefit me. Strength with my style in the ring, it's not going to benefit me. I don't know when the last time I picked somebody up is in the ring. So really for me, it's just being able to move pain-free as possible and be functional, and, you know, all the little nagging injuries I have, just do what I have to do, whether it's rehab, prehab, you know, every day, as you know, there's something that goes into the physical part of this business, whether you're in it, in your prime, whether you're not wrestling and you're out on an injury, or you're completely done. I feel like once you've done this for a living, you have to keep up physically, because that scar adhesion, man, it can come back, it can get you. You keep moving, all of a sudden you're 50, 60, 70, like you're going to not be able to, you got to keep moving. You know, like
I'm feeling it right now, brother. Yes,
yeah.
I know.
Well, like going for a 10-minute walk 3 times a day. Like people laugh at that, but like just getting out there and moving and your circulation. Like I think a lot of this country, man, just sits on the couch and watches their device. And they're sitting with their necks flexed and their backs hunched and they're like this. Like that's not good for you, man. You got to open up and you got to get outside, breathe the fresh air, feel the sun on your face. Like there's ways to stay healthy without going to the gym every day. You know what I mean?
You don't have to do crazy stuff to stay healthy. You're absolutely
no, not at all. Not at all.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.